So moving on to the last panel session of the day. So please welcome on stage with me Karim El Nagar, the Chief Executive Officer of TDF. Markus Schneider, the Head of Product Management of Media Broadcast in Germany. And Bart Bosmans, the CEO of Belgian Tower Company. So what Max was highlighting is that, and Sunil, is that we are now moving to commercialization, and this is the question we will start to address with this panel, and we will continue during the networking drink. Is really what's the path to commercialization? And Karim, I will start with you. You know, we are no longer trialing the technology. We are entering into commercial deployment. We talked about the Olympics. Now 2026 is about commercial deployment. France has always been a leader of terrestrial TV innovation. Under your leadership, TDF is currently executing one of the most ambitious 5G broadcast rollouts. Could you please tell us more why a major G7 economy is ready to flip the switch now?
Thank you, Philippe, and thank you all for being here today. Indeed, this is, I think, the moment for 5G broadcast. This year, I believe, it will be a tipping point for this technology. But it is the result of many years in the works. TDF, you mentioned it, has been working on this technology for several years now. We reached a critical milestone in 2024, rolling out the first, I would say, large-scale trial during the Olympics in partnerships with France Télévisions. And since then, we've continued to work on, I would say, fine-tuning the technology. And I would mention as well that recognizing that this needs to be a global effort, last year we launched our certification platform in our campus in Les Lilas, just outside of Paris, bringing together network equipment manufacturers, OEMs, ourselves, and basically with the goal of ensuring that we have a healthy, mature technical ecosystem. And so that's what's bringing us to where we are today, that moment where I believe we are ready collectively to launch 5G broadcast. But perhaps allow me, Philippe, and I know we've talked a lot about, what are the benefits of 5G broadcast, and there were a lot of, I would say, key points that were made. But I want to just wrap it up with sort of my personal belief, which is, to put it simply, 5G broadcast is the best way to deliver live TV on a smartphone. And I think this will be recognized more and more as the technology gets rolled out. It's, of course, the ability to deliver live TV without Wi-Fi, without mobile data, meaning without a subscription, doing it with very low energy consumption, and doing it with superior quality. And I think we don't insist enough on that aspect. If you have experienced personally the use of 5G broadcast on a device, and I really encourage you to do so, you will be amazed by the quality of the experience. It's comparable to DTT in the sense that it always works. It's very low latency. It's never impacted by any traffic, any congestion. And essentially, as long as you're in a coverage area, it is a perfect picture and a perfect sound. And I think this is essentially, when you use it, something that really hits you. Of course, we also need to, going back to why today, recognize that energy consumption and I would say the environmental impact is becoming more and more of a concern. This is also something that perhaps we didn't have in mind as a key differentiator when we kicked off those efforts some years back, but it is becoming an absolute requirement, in particular with younger generations. And we know that 5G broadcast actually excels from an energy conservation perspective. From a network perspective, of course, each site is a high power site, but there are a lot less sites in a network deployment. But on the device side, it's also very, I would say, immediate to feel how battery drain is actually very limited. So Why now? Why now? Because a lot of these things were available. Of course, we had to fine-tune the technical aspects, but we also need to recognize that consumer behavior has also reached a tipping point. Jacques mentioned it earlier. In France, it's very obvious. We have a lot of our broadcasters, France Télévisions, but the other private broadcasters are launching their digital platforms. They are increasing in usage significantly. And so we see, especially in the younger populations, 15 to 49, that television is now consumed mostly on smartphones. And so we need collectively to address this, in particular from a broadcast community perspective. I think the other aspect, and obviously we've talked about it during Mobile World Congress extensively, is the rise in concern and focus on sovereignty. Sovereignty, reliability, and essentially information neutrality are huge drivers. We've talked about it, but I think we haven't insisted enough on resiliency. Resiliency in terms of dealing with situations where our telecom networks may be saturated, but more catastrophic events, whether those are weather events, and we've witnessed that in Europe very recently, but also more and more cyber-related events, and generally speaking, I would say more catastrophic, I would say man-generated events. So in many ways, what we're seeing also is that today, 5G broadcast is a tool for democratic resilience. And then going back to OEMs and device manufacturers, because they are the key to the success of the rollouts of this technology, I think my message would be that younger audiences in particular already watch more and more video content on their smartphones, but they also watch more and more of live content. We, TDF, have done a study during the Olympics, and we were actually quite surprised to see the interest for live content among the younger generation. We had some preconceived idea that on-demand was rising, and it is indeed, but live content remains a key component of viewership. So with this expectation from consumers comes also the expectation of higher quality, higher stability, in particular during commutes, in particular when there's a lot of traffic on the networks. So again, I'm going to try to save time on our session this morning. I want to just wrap it up by saying that based on all this, and after the investments that TDF has made in the past years, I'm excited to announce officially that we will be rolling out the first operational network for 5G broadcast in France starting this year. And so our goal is to roll out about 20 sites this year, covering 8 million people in France. And we will ramp up in 2027 and in 2028. We believe 2028 needs to be the year of full commercial rollout and hopefully the year where we can have massive device availability. And by then, we will reach a rollout of over 300 sites and covering 40 million people in France. So a very significant investment that we have decided to make. So we're doing our part. And I know that there is a business sort of model here to put in place, but we certainly are ready to carry the weight on the network side. I want to just end by saying that a big thank you to, of course, the TDF teams, but more broadly, the ecosystem. I think it's really exciting to see the momentum in the past 2 years that has led to where we are today, where I think really at the point of I would say, a massive rollout. You know, if we look at this momentum, I'm pretty sure continuing in this trend will have not only a successful launch in France, but hopefully more rapid adoption across Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Karim. Very clear message, very clear. So I think it's one of the major announcements of today is really that France has a very committed rollout plan for the next 3 years. So this is extremely important. And turning to another G7 country and very strong economy, Germany. Markus here. what are the use cases that 5G broadcast specifically in Germany is enabled? Do you have some examples of where and how the users and you did another study also in Germany? So what are the outcomes of that?
Yeah, thank you, Philippe. Yeah, I wanted to point out also a bit what is how to test this. You know, if we take the assumption that it's the best quality we can have and that user will like this, how can we prove this? So as all BNOs making trials in the past years, we found out that in 2023, 2024, technically we are ready. We can deploy a network. We know how it works. We have the sites. We have the antennas. We can do this. So technically it's fine. But why should an end user really like this? Why should an end user use it also? So therefore we ordered a study made in 2024 from Kantar. And this study was quite positive that end users will like this, will like the product, and there are a lot of features which are really nice. And I want to focus on one situation where we might, what Karim also said, while commuting, while traveling, while waiting at crowded places. So how does 5G broadcast work in this new circumstances? You know, when we're not talking about TV in a living room, we are talking about TV on the way, on the go. So how can we prove this? So what we did is we looked at big crowded places in Germany, which one, for example, is the Hamburg railway station with over 200,000 people a day traveling around, very crowded place. Made 5G broadcast transmission enabled in this indoor venue. Invited a lot of guests, political guests, regulatory bodies. Gave them our upgraded 5G broadcast enabled smartphones and let them just walk around this venue. Just, you know, go to the railway station, look, go there, try every position you can have and try out what 5G broadcast looks like, how the quality is. And they were really, really glad to see this, and it was really a big success.
Even indoor,
even indoor. Yeah. And what most of the guests did, they just put out their own smartphone and tried to receive the same signal via the internet, which was a public signal which we broadcasted over 5G broadcast, and they did in parallel. They did this via streaming, and of course, what they see is, you know, turning wheels, buffering every 1-2 seconds. So it took time to get the signal, and of course the signal was about 30 seconds delayed behind the broadcasted signal. So once seeing this very fast, very clear, without fragments, the quality really, really good compared to a streaming signal. Because, you know, we are faced with the question, why should we do this? Because you can get this content already now via streaming. It's not completely new. Even if we change content, what you said, even if we, you know, go for more snackable TV, we still have this content also now. But having seen this difference in quality, in reception, in, you know, very, very easy to consume, this was really convincing for our guests at this time. Yeah, that's what we did. And it was very successful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. We wanted the concrete aspect because we talk about commercialization. So thank you very much, Marcos. Yeah. Thank you. And last but not least, we talked about this ecosystem and the commercialization, the need to work together. I briefly touched upon the organizer of this conference, the 5G Broadcast Business Strategy Task Force, but we wanted to take a bit the time. Marcos, Bart, and many other people in the room are part of this task force, but we wanted Bart as a kind of spokesperson to highlight, you know, more concretely, what's the value that the 5G task force can bring to the ecosystem. Bart.
Thank you, Philippe. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So, from the ecosystem, the most important thing is that we bring people together, business, so broadcast network operators, that have the same mindset. They want to do 5G broadcast. And they want to do 5G broadcast, but really do it. Meaning they all committed, like Karim just said, they committed to deployments, really deployments, not just saying, we want to do something, we want to do it. Also, we have a big market. If we combine all the networks, we have a big market which is good for collaboration with OEMs, with the governments, with the European Union, with vendors, with everybody. So this is what we can bring to the table for the ecosystem. Now, most important thing from what I heard from Max and from Qualcomm and the other things is, what can we do with the OEMs? Because we can build networks, we can do what we want, but we need phones. So what we want to do is, we have business models that are different than you're used to in the mobile world. We want to talk with them, to you, on how we can do this. We have initiatives and ideas and ready to do this on shared network capacity that you can use, for instance, for your own content. We want to do shared revenues on the publicity. This is also a model that we think about. We want to do together the investments that are necessary to launch something, like the 1.8 million devices that you said. We can talk and see how we can do this. We can do this with Motorola, but we can do this with everybody. We are ready to do this, and we have the intention to do this, not just talking about it, but we want to do this. And we are active worldwide, so it's not only Europe that we can offer the whole world as a strategic task force. So I think this is the most important things that we can offer towards the OEMs, which we really need to make a big success out of this. So this is, I think, the main message that I wanted to bring over.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great and very simple. So thank you very much, Bart. It doesn't need to be long when it is absolutely important, when it is critical. Yeah, you go right to the point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And to prove the importance of this task force, so I will thank the panelists here. Thank you very much, Karim, Marcos, and Bart. Tu veux le récupérer maintenant? So I tease for an announcement. So and we have we are here, and before this is the last step before we have the networking drink, and it's a bit hot in there. So I think it will be good to be refreshed. But before that, so we would like to see the attraction, and I'm sure it will go beyond Europe. But the task force at the moment is in Europe. But one major country was missing. Two major countries were missing in the map that I showed you. So the map is obsolete now, and I'm very happy to invite on stage Joymer, but also Marga from Cellnex Netherlands, so Cellnex Spain and Cellnex Netherlands. They would like to explain, to announce why they are joining the task force, the business strategy task force, and what does it mean for Cellnex. Please welcome on stage Joymer and Marga. If you want to play the video. Okay. Yeah. So there is also a very good video that Joymer will introduce, and for the people who didn't see 5G broadcast, it's quite amazing.
Okay, thank you, Philippe. Bon dia, good morning, buenos dias. It's a pleasure for us. It's a pleasure for me being born in Barcelona. It's a pleasure for us to be here all together and to have Barcelona as one of the cities that also pushes for 5G broadcasting. Thank you for coming, and I hope that this could be interesting. Barcelona also is the place where Cellnex has its own headquarters. Indeed, we have the office 100 meters from here, from the fair. And for this, we are here today not to announce publicly, and we are super happy and proud of that Cellnex will become part of the 5G task force. Okay, we are committed, and we think that it's now the time, and we will look and work together in order to find more opportunities to further collaborate. Regarding Cellnex, just for you to know in one sentence, Cellnex is a European infrastructure provider. Okay, we operate more than 130,000 sites across 10 different countries in Europe. And regarding broadcasting, we are mainly present in Netherlands and also in Spain. On 5G broadcasting, I think that we heard all the panels, super interesting. Thanks for your highlights. If I may share with you three thoughts on 5G broadcasting, probably, or three vectors where we need to work. One being regulation. I liked the concept of resilience of democracy, or democratic resilience. This is a key thing. So we need regulation there. We need regulation. We need the regulatory ecosystem to help us to make 5G broadcasting to happen. We need spectrum, we need the device regulation, and so on. So first, regulation. Second, devices. We heard super good keynote speeches from devices manufacturers. So we are here to have the 100 million devices. So let's see if we succeed on having that. And finally, business model. work in progress. We will discuss and we will look forward. So, having said that, let's be concrete and let's show you why and how Cellnex can help. No, if you allow me, Marja, just share with the colleagues here a video. This is, and thanks Xavi, is around there having the video. This is from Collserola Tower. When you get out of the fair, you can see the super tower that we have in the mountains in the north of Barcelona, and this is from this tower. Here you can see the 5G broadcasting equipment, because last Sunday we provided a demo for a reduced group of journalists in order to show them, in order to demonstrate that 5G broadcasting is something that works, is something real, and is something that we need to further discuss. Here you can see this is working. Those are Dutch contents, Marja. You can see here Dutch, and then we will see also in a second that pushing the button, you have the alarm working. Okay, now. And now it works. So this is just to demonstrate our commitment that we are working together and we are looking forward to achieve together the best results. And now also, Marja, for is yours to explain also what are we planning to do in the Netherlands.
Thank you, Jaume. Indeed, it is about showing up in the ecosystem and adding not the talks, but demonstrating that we're actually doing something. From The Hague, Rotterdam, and Alphen, we developed the 5G broadcast network also in the Netherlands, which is already live. So also here we work with the Dutch regulator, the RDI, and test and demonstrate to add to the beautiful number of sites that our colleagues from the other countries already did. So also in the Netherlands, we are there, we are operating, and we are live with 5G broadcast, demonstrating how it works, doing the test, not only ourselves, but also the regulator, and adding to the beautiful example like you did in France. It's showing, telling this story that we have been sharing here before, but also live from the Netherlands. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yep.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us at the last minute. Sorry, we could not change the slide, but it's really great. Last surprise, it was a surprise. And it's really great that Cellnex is showing both countries, Spain and Netherlands. So now I will redo my map of Europe with a task force from this afternoon onwards. So thank you very much. You can stay. We will close in a minute. I have two closing announcements. So of course, Jaume showed already the demo, but if you are like me, maybe you believe it has been done by artificial intelligence. You can show it for real in the Rohde & Schwarz demo on the booth in hall 5A80. It's right off the elevator in hall 5, so very easy to find with the Motorola phone. So thank you very much, Max, also, and of course powered by Qualcomm chipset. So come and see the live demo of 5G broadcasts. So in summary, I'd like to redo the call for action that Arnaud did at the very beginning. To the industry, what we demonstrated during this conference, I hope it's clear, is that the network is ready because this is existing digital terrestrial television sites. The content is there. Jacques showed actually how we can create content for the broadcasters appealing, and Marcus emphasized that this is appealing to the younger audience. And the devices are coming. We had Sunil and Max offering us a clear vision and a clear ambition for the device to come. So there is only one word, it's let's go, and the best way to deliver TV is on a mobile device. Thank you very much.